I started seeing the chart of Ethereum versus Bitcoin and looked like it was going to start outperforming, just a chart pattern and a hunch. And what was interesting is I used the same mechanism and it's priced exactly the same way. I need to find out how you price Ethereum because I have a feeling it's exactly the same as Bitcoin. And I could see people attacking anybody who talks about Ethereum or other tokens online. But really what it was to me was also a network. We're going to see some crazy times ahead. I'm still remain extremely positive.
From what I've already read about you, you were mainly, if not 100% Bitcoin. Are you still that pro-Bitcoin? Has anything changed for you?
Yeah, changed a lot since then. So, you heard my crypto story. So I invested, first time was 2012. It went up 100% in a month. And I was like, holy shit. And I sold it. Then I bought some again in 2013. And I held that through all the way to 2017. And then I sold out too early into the bull market because there was having these Bitcoin forks going on. I'm like, I don't understand any of this. I'm out. I thought, could this whole thing fail? Could it all move to a different chain? I don't know. And then I was out. I've been following the space for a while, and I was out of it until 2019. I started seeing the chart of Ethereum versus Bitcoin and looked like it was going to start outperforming, just a chart pattern and a hunch. And then I started digging into, okay, how do you value Bitcoin and Ethereum? So we've had the stock to flow model, but really what it was to me was also a network. And you use something called Metcalfe's law to value a network, which is basically a network has value proportionate to the number of people on the network and the number of interconnections they have with each other. So I could see that in Bitcoin, and you could pretty much prove it out by putting like number of active wallet addresses and the price of Bitcoin on a chart, and you basically get a very high correlated answer. And I could see people attacking anybody who talks about Ethereum or other tokens online. So I'm like, I need to find out how you price Ethereum because I have a feeling it's exactly the same as Bitcoin. And what was interesting is I used the same mechanism and it's priced exactly the same way. But what was more surprising is the adoption of Ethereum was much faster than that of Bitcoin at the same stage. So I'm like, wow. And then you start realizing the number of things being built in it, the applications, the number of developers involved, and the speed of the increase of the number of users. So there's a lot of interconnections plus a lot of users. That was going to become very valuable. I always knew that the macro world of investing with too much debt and these aging demographics and all the problems in the financial system, the next recession, they were going to meet crypto and they were going to become the same thing because crypto was the solution and this was the problem. So as soon as the recession came, I saw crypto collapse and I'm like, okay, this is the signal. This is the chance to get in because the most likely outcome is this explodes higher. So I started buying back in March last year. I was all Bitcoin. I was up until maybe June, July, I was still investing in other stuff. And then I said, look, this is the single best opportunity we're ever going to be given in our lives. And I'm going all in. So every single penny of cash that I had, I put into Bitcoin. This was not a small bet. This was like, yeah, I'm doing it.
Selling your bet.
Because, everything I'd ever studied about, the macro and crypto itself, this was the time. If it was going to happen, now was it. And the chart pattern was great. So the Bitcoin correction question, I've said all the way through, you're going to expect a 50% correction in the middle of this. We've had a 50%. Could it go to 60%? Is it finished here? Who knows? But it's going to take a while to digest, so it's not going to rally and go in a V shape. But in a few months, my guess, and I have no idea, my guess and all the work I've ever done on this is that we should be seeing higher prices for the rest of the year. So around this phase, buy the dip if you can. If you're able to, again, don't use leverage. Be cautious, understand what risks you're taking, but I think it's a great opportunity. So that's the general rule of thumb for that. No, I think, people allocated more to Ethereum because it had been going up. both spaces were missing a positive news story. Bitcoin gets the news story. People reallocate money from Ethereum into Bitcoin. Pretty normal stuff. And the ETH Bitcoin cross went quite far. It's got a significant resistance at about 0.08. I think once it breaks that, it goes much, much higher. But I think a correction where Bitcoin outperforms for a few months, 2 months, 3 months, I think would be healthy and normal. And then I started layering in more macro bets on where I thought the space was going. So trying to be more intelligent than just a basket. I've still kept the basket. Mm-hmm. And my bets are moving towards the metaverse and social tokens, community tokens, which I think are going to be hugely disruptive business model. And I think the metaverse is where everything is going. So that's kind of how I played it. So I'm now roughly 25% Bitcoin, 55% Ethereum, and 20% in all the other stuff. Well, they continue to show that, even Ethereum has been having more volume in certain days than Bitcoin has. The wallet address growth is faster than Bitcoin. In every way, it's outperforming Bitcoin, except in market cap. I think we call it the flippening when Ethereum is larger than the market cap of Bitcoin. That's nothing to say that I don't believe in Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin is a different thing to Ethereum. Many hardcore Bitcoin believers think that all applications will be built on the Bitcoin blockchain. But I think that's more a hope than a reality. The reality is many different ecosystems will get traction for different things. And Ethereum right now has DeFi, NFTs, social tokens, all on it. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be money. The next part of the equation comes with the introduction of the EIC 1559 token, which essentially lowers the supply of Ethereum by burning Ethereum. And then there's the ETH 2.0 where we move to proof of stake, which again, will lower the gas fees, but also will lower supply even further. So it becomes a super scarce asset with massive use. So probability is it's going to do pretty well. I think then we start coming in to the new ETH 1559 token and the changes that's probably pretty good story for ETH. So I think ETH tends to outperform. We had Kirill Sokolov interviewed Joey Krug on the platform, and Joey was actually talking, his view as well is probably that Ethereum outperforms as we start moving into this early next year into the proof of stake mechanism. It'll probably be a buy the rumor, sell the fact. You get there and then it's all in the price. But we're going to see some crazy times ahead. I'm still remain extremely positive. I started seeing the chart of Ethereum versus Bitcoin and looked like it was going to start outperforming, just a chart pattern and a hunch. I always knew that the macro world of investing with too much debt, when Ethereum is larger than the market cap of Bitcoin.